What do Clinton, Obama officials, big money leftists, a former prime minister of Israel, why do they want to make this Jeffrey Epstein story go away so bad? Let me get to this one first, because this is really suspicious. If you are wondering why you haven't heard more about Epstein, despite it being one of the biggest political scandals of our time, undoubtedly, it's not even open for dispute. You got this major money guy, right? Nobody knows where he gets his money. It's alleged he's got videotapes of all these foo-foo shishi people, right? Doing the shh. You know what the shh is? If you don't and you're a young person, Joe's over the age of 30, he knows what the shh. You got to ask, I can't, you got to ask your parents, okay? But Epstein is alleged to have videos of the shh with a lot of these famous people, and yet it's the craziest thing. You don't hear anything about this. So another story drops about Epstein, which is probably going to bake your bagels like it did mine. So first, let's go back to what we talked about on Monday. The Wall Street Journal dropped this gem over the weekend about Epstein's private calendar, revealing prominent names, including a CIA chief, Goldman's top lawyer, and the lawyer they're talking about is Catherine Rumler, who was who? Not to belabor this point, she was Obama's White House lawyer. She was known as the fixer. What the is Catherine Rumler, Obama's fixer, meeting with Jeffrey Epstein for? Kind of weird, no? What is she fixing? It's really strange because Catherine Rumler, the Obama fixer, also represented this guy, George Nader, who was a source for Bob Mueller in the fake PP tape hoax against Donald Trump. And by the way, Nader was known to have Middle Eastern connections. And the rumors out there, as I said to you on Monday, and I'll say again, that Jeffrey Epstein may have had Middle East connections in the spy business, if you know what I mean. We also had to put two together. Guy, am I not explaining this right? Okay. So you got Obama's fixer who is representing as a lawyer or meeting with two people with suspected Middle East connections to the spy and intelligence business as they're setting up Donald Trump. So strange. So strange. And then we see this little gem back from 2020. I think we put this article up before, but this was really weird. You remember when Epstein was arraigned? It's so strange. So two people, this is the Daily Beast, by the way. It's a left-wing outlet. In case you think, there's a conspiracy there. It's a left-wing outlet, you morons on the left. I mean, a far left-wing outlet. They noticed at this court appearance that someone was there showing support. Quote, two people who separately attended the hearing said, Catherine Rumler, who served as White House counsel during the Clinton and Obama administrations, had a, quote, professional relationship with Epstein and was seated behind his defense team. Joe, hey. Anybody, weird. Is any, weird? You know what's weird? Weird. That this isn't one of the biggest, you know, outside of the Journal covering this story's almost nowhere. It's been nowhere on cable news. So you got this big finance guy, and everybody's like, wait, he made his money in finance? How? And everyone's like scratching their heads like, I have no idea how he made his money. He's also alleged to have been connected to the spy community. Oh, in the Middle East. And then Obama's fixer shows up at his court appearance, who used to rep Clinton and Obama in the White House and is seated right behind the defense team. Nothing to see here, folks. Don't you worry. It's all good. Story gets better. This is what came. But why am I bringing this up today? Dan, you covered this on Monday. Well, something else dropped yesterday. Epstein documents, Wall Street Journal, part 2. In America, called part 2. This dropped yesterday. Dinners with Lawrence Summers. That was Clinton's Treasury Secretary. Movie screenings with Woody Allen, too. Wow, this Epstein, man, this guy really got around. But I don't really care about Woody Allen. We already know his story. I care about these two names from the Wall Street Journal. Oh, he was meeting with Reid Hoffman. Now, if you're asking yourself, who's Reid Hoffman? Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is as influential in the far left progressive anti-American cause as George Soros. No. Yes. Reid Hoffman is a billionaire venture capitalist, and he founded a site you may have heard of called LinkedIn. Turns out, according to the Journal's reporting, Reid Hoffman visited Epstein's private island in the Caribbean and was scheduled to stay over at his Manhattan townhouse back in 2014. Reid Hoffman, big liberal donor, big censorship guy, too. Big censorship guy. Maybe why aren't we hearing about the Jeffrey Epstein censorship? Lego pieces coming together. Here's another one, Ehud Barak. It's kind of an important guy. He was only the former prime minister of Israel. Turns out he visited Epstein dozens of times and accepted flights on Epstein's private jet. You know, it's always been alleged that he was connected to Middle Eastern intelligence. Kind of strange, this whole thing. Here's an interesting little video from Ehud Barak, too, who is knee-deep in leftism, who just talked about openly how they basically engaged in a coup in Israel, trying to screw over right-leaning Benjamin Netanyahu, because there's a court system in Israel that's out of control. So Ehud Barak, who's a far-left radical, who seems to know Epstein really well, he just kind of laid out how these leftist revolts happen. You see how these swampies are all connected? Maybe why they want to make this Epstein story go away? Here, take a listen to this.
So it's a clash. There's a top-down regime change using the tools, the legal tools of democracy, facing a counter-revolution from bottom up. And we will win. I'm confident of it because I know our people, and we have even empirical evidence for this. Some 11 years ago, in two ladies, scholars, Chenoweth and Stefan, published in Columbia, research they made of hundreds of civil protests in the last over 100 years, from 1900 to 2006. And they found a common denominator. All these protests which succeeded, where they reach a level of 3.5 of the percent of the population, which ends up to be about 8% of the adult population, tenaciously and persistently keeping the protests, boycott, civil disobedience, and so on. At the end, the government either fall or capitulate. And this exactly, we already crossed this number within less than 3 months. So we are heading in the right direction. The publication called Why Civil Resistance Works.
He's just laying out the battle plan for the left on how to take to the streets with a small number of people. He even gives you a number, 3.5%, to basically overthrow the government. That is a former prime minister of Israel who, conveniently, according to this report, has had multiple contacts with Jeffrey Epstein, who's now dead, who was rumored to have Middle Eastern spy contacts. So strange, man. So strange. It's like these lefties have been engaging in this plot to take back governments, duly elected governments, and turn them over to Antifa types for a really long time. And maybe Epstein knew a lot of the players in there. So strange. Yeah, it is. Every single time. So he met with Reid Hoffman, too. Reid Hoffman, as you can see here in this CNBC piece. Notice how I use left-leaning sources. It's not to give them clicks, ladies and gentlemen. It's to defeat any moron leftist in the chat right now. Do we have any moron leftists in there? Who might say, it sounds like a conspiracy theory. Really? By the Daily Beast and CNBC? They're drawing up the conspiracy theory? LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman hopes to get more Democrats elected to Congress this fall by beating some in the primaries. He wanted the radicals elected. Oh, look, Reid Hoffman, big Democrat donor. Far left street activist extraordinaire Ehud Barak in Israel. They all seem to love Jeffrey Epstein, big money guy. Strange, who seem to have tapes on a lot of people. And I love it. The deep state, it's a conspiracy theory. Really? That's crazy. Here's Axios, another left-wing outlet. You sensing a pattern here? Exclusive. Billionaires back a new media firm to combat disinformation, i.e., let me just rewrite this title. Billionaires back a new media firm to censor anyone who calls them out on their plot to usher in a new era of socialism. That's the appropriate title. Oh, who was involved in this? Who was it? A new public benefit corporation backed by billionaires. Reid Hoffman and George Soros is launching Tuesday to fund new media companies and efforts that tackle disinformation, i.e. conservatives who look into Reid Hoffman, George Soros, Jeffrey Epstein, Clinton, Obama, and Biden. This was from October of 2021. Makes sense now? You see what's going on here, folks? it's pretty clear right now that Epstein, whether he was a cutout, whether he was a voluntary, witting, or unwitting partner in an intelligence gathering operation, it appears a lot of people want to make this story go away. And the people who want to make this story go away, because they may have been gathering bribery material on others, have the ability to make it go away because the exact same people, the Reid Hoffmans and the George Soroses of the world and the others, are engaged in operations like Good Information, Inc., which do nothing but censor people who, like me, or try to censor me, it doesn't really work very well, who try to talk about it. Folks, I'm going to ask you again. Does it make sense now why you're not hearing more about this story? That was a clip from the Dan Bongino Show. You can watch the full show. We recommend you do on Rumble. Go to rumble.com/Bongino, please, and subscribe for free. We appreciate it.